Hello and welcome everybody to this client story. Today I'm going to be interviewing, chatting to Sarah, who has just finished working with me inside Amplify. And Sarah's a really great client story to listen to because we were just talking before we hit that live button about how she hasn't followed that sort of traditional route of just coming, create an Evergreen group program. And we were talking about how that's actually pretty difficult within Amplify to not follow that very linear route. So before I share a little bit around where Sarah has got to, Sarah, would you introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, who you help?
Yes, my name's Sarah Clarke, and I am, as of 2 years ago, I'm a happy startup coach. But prior to that, I was doing career coaching for 5 years. So I help people in the early stages of their business of 12 to 18 months plus, usually consultants, coaches, just make more money and enjoy their businesses more.
Love it. And when we first started about working together, you already had an Evergreen group program, right? So can you tell everyone a little bit about where you were at when you reached out to me?
I think in my head, when I saw all of your marketing and your content, I was like, I love your approach. I love your style. I'm quite scientific, but I wanted to understand the formula almost that you were using with your own approach. I'm very interested in what makes businesses successful. And I knew, honestly, that my lead gen wasn't great. Like I thought, I don't really need the group stuff, Gemma, but I really want to know about your marketing and your sales and your lead generation. So that's where I was. But when I entered the program, I realized that actually I could completely up level my group program. I could make it so much better. And as such, I've improved and built on it. And I've got a second iteration of that group program.
So you came with one group and you were helping those beginner business owners. And we identified through the program that it was a nice niche, but a little bit of a nice to have niche. And therefore, your super fans were buying, like those that were really bought into you. But it wasn't necessarily going to be the easiest to scale because it was the nice, fluffy stuff that is great, but not essential. So, how did we shift that?
So I think toward the end of the first group program that I created, because I was creating it as I delivered it, I started to make my content and positioning more compelling. And I started making things more tangible in terms of the outcomes that people would get. And I realized that I was literally just bolting on to this program, which is already 12 modules long. It's an enormous beast. It took me a year to write. And I thought, actually, I'm just making this too much. I need to stop there and actually create something new. So my original group program became more of a kind of startup foundations program, which is who am I? What do I want to create? What is my natural style in marketing? What's my Myers-Briggs type and how does that influence my purpose? And all of the kind of self-discovery stuff that I do. And then the second group program became more about you've got a business, you know what you're doing. You just need to make this sustainable and scalable so you don't have to go back to your 9 to 5. Because the people that needed it more, I was finding that kind of sweet spot dream client, were people that had tried it on their own and knew that it was bloody hard.
Yeah.
So these were the people that really needed my help. The people that were like just starting out or in that honeymoon period of like, hey, I can do it on my own. It wasn't as compelling. So that's why I changed my niche and my program.
And I love that. And it's something we talk about a lot in Amplify, that I talk about a lot in my marketing, is like finding the bleeding neck. If you choose a nice to have niche, you will continually get people say, sounds great, I might do that next year. Or sounds great, but I don't have the money for that right now. And so if we really focused on scaling our businesses, then we have to face the reality of serving in a niche where people really need it now. And that often takes a bit of a mindset leap and dealing with some sometimes uncomfortable beliefs we have around, but I really like doing this thing. And this is a really nice topic, but actually, this is more profitable and more in demand right now.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean you have to abandon the other stuff. I feel like it becomes almost an MO, like a way of being. So I am all about purpose and personality and U-shaped business and all of that stuff. So I still weave that, but into a more of a strategic program. So I'm doing the kind of tangible outcome based delivery, but with that vibe around let's make this align with your values. Let's do this so it doesn't over trigger your nervous system. I've got all of that still in there, but I don't sell it based on that.
Exactly. And this is like 100%. And you hit on this point earlier when you said, I said to you, Gemma, I don't really need the group stuff. I just need help with the marketing and sales. Is you have to sell people what they want, not even though I know everyone that comes to me and say they have a group, it's perfect. They don't need to do anything to it. That nothing is ever finished. And we, like you said before our call, like you don't know what you don't know. And therefore, when you're in a container where everyone's focused on groups, people have ideas that you're just not expecting. And me too. It's not like I've nailed group programs. I'm very group programmed. And I've learned more by surrounding myself with constant business owners who are all doing that as well. And the ideas that come out of our calls are sometimes like, "That's a good idea. I'm going to try that." And so you end up just like beefing up your group program to be like a powerhouse. Whereas before you probably had something that was good, but could be exceptional.
Exactly that. And I think I said this to you earlier that we're all worse, obviously, and we're never done. But I just feel like going through Amplify has been so much more than a group program. It's been a level up in my mindset, how I approach marketing, sales, how I think of myself as a business owner, like the community that you've created. It has been like a business mentoring program for me as opposed to a group program. So I'd encourage anyone to need a bit of a boost in their own business. Just because they haven't necessarily got a group program focus, they get so much out.
Yeah. And that's the strength of a niche, is speaking to like help people grow group programs, but then all the subtleties that you get, you have to bring in as well. So in Amplify, we obviously design the group program, but then most of our time we're focusing on lead generation and more consistent sales. So what do you feel like you've implemented or grown what in our time working together?
I think there were lots of things. The biggest thing for me is that persistence and resilience. I think previously I was a bit like, I've done all of the things. I've done as many things as I could possibly do to generate leads and make my sales calls better. But that sort of playful creativity that comes with just trying something else and like brainstorming in the group, what else could we try? And have you tried this? And it doesn't matter if it doesn't work. I'm very experimental with the coaching that I do with my own client, but I don't think I was necessarily applying it to my own business. So that for me has been a step change, that like there's always another way. Like you're never done. I think that's the biggest thing.
And I love that because I often have prospects say to me on sales calls, a bit like you might happen to me, Gemma, I've done that piece or I've done that piece. Everyone that joins Amplify is established. It's because it's a program for established business owners, and you have to be generating leads and making sales to move to a group program anyway. So you're bound to have large pieces of the puzzle in place, but the large pieces can be improved, and then there'll be some new pieces to implement that you're not doing at all. And at this stage of business, for me, it's so much about optimization. And that's where the experimentation comes in. So often we're on an Amplify call talking about the nuance of the tone you use in a sales call, or the way you start the call versus how you manage it when you talk about your program. We were talking about that on Tuesday, weren't we? Subtle differences. And then these are the things that affect our conversion. It's not, oh, I need a sales call script. Hopefully, at this point in your business, you have a little bit of a script and you're not just completely winging it. But it's those tweaks and the creativity, like you say, that for me, one, make us step up as a business owner and have a bit more confidence in trying things and finding what's right for us, that U-shaped business thing you make. But two, where we learn how we can really affect conversion.
Yes. And it's the nuance of those conversations that I enjoy, because I feel like you can do the basics, the sort of foundational stuff whenever you start a business, like basic sales, basic marketing, basic messaging. But the nuance that we get into those conversations are very stimulating. It feels more like a mastermind environment for me, because we're really to the nth degree of tiny little turns of phrase that you use in an email, or whether you're speaking to somebody who's, you were talking about too soon, just right, or too late. That will change the complete approach that you take to your messaging. So that for me is almost, it just deepened my knowledge of how I can grow a great business, but in a way that isn't. And you've got a lovely manner and you're very anti-hustle too. It's not grim and it's not sleazy. It's not pushy. It's very authentic, which is another reason why I find it really aligned with my own style too.
Yeah, sure. Love that. So we talked at the beginning about how you didn't follow the traditional route of like the Amplify path. You came in with one Evergreen group program. Where have you ended up now? What does your business look like?
So now I have another group program, which is an Evergreen. It's potentially going to be Evergreen next year. I wanted to, and I'm still playing with this experimental style. I'm working on a model that allowed me to do more live delivery, because my background's HR and talent development. I used to just deliver loads of training. That was my thing. And I do love it. I love that element of live delivery. So the thing with Evergreen is that I need to somehow factor in the live delivery as well as keeping everything fresh and new people coming in every month. I got a really good starting point with my new group program. So I had like 9 people joining my first cohort back in May. So that's almost been like 2 months worth of intake. But I don't feel like I need to get more people in. But my next launch can be in October. So I'm going to be doing it then. And then maybe next year I'll do a bit more kind of evergreen. But at the moment, I'm loving how it is.
And I love, well, I think people get quite caught up in their head about like cohort or evergreen, and it comes back to run it cohort and see what you think and turn it evergreen if you want, or there's pros and cons to both. And or you can start evergreen. And this is Amplify is what I'd like people to take away partly from this conversation and what we were talking about earlier. It's a container to explore these options rather than sometimes you join a program and it's like, this is a set way you have to do it and you have to follow the exact model. If you don't follow the exact model, like it's not a hot if it doesn't work. And I hope you agree that's not our ethos in Amplify, and that's not the conversations we have on every single group call.
No, not at all. And I just echoing that point I made before, it's so much more than a group program. And it's just, I feel like the group program was like adds focus to all the stuff that we talk about. But your content is incredibly clear. The fact that you were a teacher before, I think definitely helps. You're very articulate. You can just jump in to a certain module and like consume. I go for walks and like have you in my ears. Don't know if you know that, Gemma. But yeah, I think it's very accessible. So you can jump around and like, take what you need and leave the rest.
So how would you describe your experience of working together?
I've really loved it. It's definitely surpassed my expectations. Coming into your program going, no, I don't need any help with my group program. My group program's great. And coming out going, okay, I need to rewrite the whole thing. I'll start again. That was a big wake up call for me. But I really genuinely enjoy the sessions we have every week. Like they are a highlight of my week. They motivate me. They give me loads of ideas, probably more than I can implement. And I feel like it just gives me that momentum. Sometimes when you're working on your own, you're like, it's hard to keep going. But
Totally. And what would you say, like after 9 months of working together, what's like that one takeaway or learning you want to remember moving forward?
I talked about this before we went live. I can't remember what I said now. I think there were so many, but probably the overarching one is hold it lightly. It doesn't matter. Just try something else. If this thing doesn't work, don't give up. And I've never been that kind of person. I'm quite resilient naturally, but I feel like I have big toolkit now, stuff I can try when I'm hitting brick wall. So that, yeah, constant pivot, experimentation, iteration piece.
I love that. And what are you looking forward to next in your business in the next year or so?
I am really excited about enrolling more people into Fruitful Founder. I feel like it's getting a bit of getting traction now. People are talking about it. I'm becoming known for it. I'm getting even clearer on my niche as well. So I think that laser focusing on working with purely coaches and consultants in the first year or two of business is going to help. The community that I've created, I'm genuinely really proud of. Like they just help. What we have in Amplify, people just help each other out all the time, spurring each other on, cheerleading. So I feel like there's a movement brewing. I think it really could be quite exciting.
I love that. And these are all of the, I think some of the intangible benefits of group programs that people don't necessarily consider. It's like the community is such a huge part of your group program. The conversation, like the energy you surround yourself with on a weekly basis. That's something I really missed when I just worked one-on-one is it was your energy and that person's energy. Whereas in a group, it's just like some of the best people all in a room together, all having very relevant conversations, which I love.
Powerful. Yeah.
So last question, who would you recommend Amplify to and what should other people know about working with me?
I would recommend it to anybody that's either thinking about starting a group program or somebody who has maybe played or toyed with the idea of group programs, but never done it properly. I think there is a lot that everyone can. I've been there running group programs for 3-4 years. And I learned so much. I've got a background in learning development. I learned so much. But there's so much to gain, even if you don't really know it all, like you just don't. I think the thing that they need to know from you, and I'll be really honest with you up front, when I started working with you, I just felt like I was really rubbish. So like, how on earth can I ever create something as good as what Gemma has created in terms of Amplify? So there was a bit comparison, but I think when you are motivated to see what is possible, don't let that put you off, because I feel you're so accessible and you're approachable. You are so generous with your knowledge. You will always give whatever anybody needs, like share stuff. Oh, I tried this, try this, Sarah. Nothing is too much. So 100% go.
Love that. Thanks, Sarah. So can you remind everyone what you help them with and where they can find out more about you if they're curious to know more?
Yes, I am the Happy Startup Coach on Instagram, where I haul myself about regularly. I'm there quite a lot. Need to let the birds out have it, I think. So the Happy Startup Coach on Instagram, the Happy Startup Coach also on Facebook, but not as much. activity. Sarah Clarke on LinkedIn. My program for People Founder launches again in October. There's still time to get the beta rate, want to plug it. And it's for anybody who's a coach or consultant in their first 12 to 18 months. You want to just make more consistent income and have more fun in the business.
Fabulous. Sarah, if you come drop a link under this video later, then people can follow you directly. If you've watched this and you think this program sounds awesome, I want to up-level my business, start a group program, explore the cohort evergreen debate, and generally be surrounded by business owners who are all up-leveling, just comment below Amplify or send me a DM and let's chat about whether this could be the right next step for you. Thanks so much for your time, Sarah, and thanks for watching, everyone.
Cheers, Gemma.